Another Chris Sale milestone last night helped the Sox salvage the series finale with the Astros and kept their 2.5-game Central Division lead intact. 4.5 games back, the Kansas City Royals loom, and tonight, Jose Quintana gets the nod, looking to add to that lead against the defending world champs. Homecoming weekend at U.S. Cellular Field, and the defending World Series winners are here. The Kansas City Royals in town for the first of a 3-game series with the homestanding White Sox in the middle of a 10-game homestand. Pleasant good evening to you. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you, and Kansas City shows its face for the first time this season and runs into the number 2 of the best 1-2 combination in baseball.
Jose Quintana has been brilliant this year. His ERA in the mid-ones. He's 5-2. And take a look at some of the things he's been able to accomplish, and they've been brilliant. Winners of 4 of his last 5 starts. As you can see, a 1.03 ERA. Opponents hitting just 189. He changes eye levels probably better than any pitcher in the league, and right now he's getting the acclaim he should have gotten all along. So pitching duos, along with Chris Sale, who was brilliant last night, well, they're only 14-2 this year. That's the best in baseball. Their ERA 156, followed by Arrieta and Lester, 11-2, 157, and further up the road, Strasburg and Scherzer. So this is one real good pitcher. He's our number 1A. I won't even call him a number 2. He's better than that. And he's got to win a big one in the first of a series against a team we've got to beat.
Yeah, the Royals are 20 up and 20 down right now, but playing better baseball recently with a series victory over the Red Sox. The batting average is well down. Mike Moustakas still on the disabled list, the third baseman with an injured thumb. He's likely to come back during this series. The ERA was better last year as well, along with the bullpen about a point below last season where it is currently this season. But the Royals still can hit, and one of those guys is Eric Hosmer.
You have to be careful with him because he's red hot. Hitting .327 with 8 home runs. He's hit safely in 34 of the 40 games. With Moustakas out of the lineup, he provides a left-handed punch. And so Hosmer having a banner season. The Royals not making quite as much contact this year as they made last. They're still a tough team. They're still the team to get by in the division. And hopefully this series will be the start of something really good.
First of 3 straight series against divisional opponents for the Sox. And we mentioned it is homecoming weekend. Some of the greats are here. Blackjack will join us later on, coming up in the 3rd inning, along with another one of the greats, One Dog, stopping by. Royals and Sox just around the corner.
Brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Back to U.S. Cellular Field as we get you ready for Game 1 of a 3-game series and the first real pivotal series of this season for the White Sox. As Kansas City's in town, and you know what that means. The World Series trophy is in tow, but Kansas City has fallen on something of hard times for the first 40 games this year at 20-20. Sox trying to reverse fortunes with Kansas City from the last 5 years, and we'll see the starting lineup for Ned Yost and the Kansas City Royals today. Escobar leads it off, then Kane and Hosmer, who we told you about in the open. Cuthbert in the 7 spot might be temporary. Mike Moustakas is scheduled to come off the DL at some point, reports say, during this series, all the way down to Orlando, the right fielder.
Let's take a look at the defense, and now Robin's going to line them up behind Jose Quintana, Melky Cabrera, Austin Jackson, and Adam Eaton in the outfield. And it's Todd Frazier, Tyler Saladino at shortstop with Brett Lawrie and Jose Abreu in the infield. Alex Avila gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Jose Quintana, looking for win number 6. His ERA, a baseball leading 154. The umpires for the game tonight. Under Wendelstedt behind the plate. Gabe Morales is at first. Scott Berry at second, and the crew chief, Jerry Lane, is at third. Now, Jose has had some fairly big troubles with this Kansas City crew. He's 1-6 lifetime against them. His ERA is up over 4. That's kind of unusual because he's dominated just about everybody else. This Kansas City team, who is known to make some contact, is not making quite as much this year. The on-base percentage is not among baseball's best. It's down somewhat, and they got off to a slow start. But I do believe that Moustakas, who can come off the disabled list tomorrow, is probably going to come off and ready to get back in that lineup. They're going to be much better when he gets there both ways, defensive and a left-handed banger.
Played in a rehab game last night in Northwest Arkansas with the AA club, and Alcides Escobar leads it off for the Royals today. Then Kane and Hosmer in the first inning. And you mentioned the on-base percentage. Kansas City's dead last in Major League Baseball with just 91 walks.
It's somewhat surprising. They were a very patient bunch. Now, one of the philosophies is if you see a good pitch early in the count, go after it. They don't play the long ball a whole lot because they do have the biggest ballpark in the major leagues as far as square footage is concerned.
Quintana to Escobar. First pitch tonight is grounded to shortstop. Saladino deep, has the out. Whoa, what a play.
That's about as good as it gets. On the slide, getting up as quickly as he can, and Escobar can run. Make no mistake about it. This ball's in the hole. It looks like it's going to be a base hit. He gets up, plants the back foot, and skips it across just in time. The defense that has been very good, bordering on spectacular on that play.
Whoa, what a start.
Nobody feels better about it than Jose Quintana.
So Saladino in the lineup with a brilliant effort at shortstop to welcome the Royals in 2016. Quintana to Kane, who takes ball 1.
Look, it was one pitch. It was one hit ball. And it's if to say to the Royals, remember those guys from the last couple of years? They're not here anymore.
To first, 2 down on 3 pitches. So Eric Hosmer to bat. Just the feeling in the ballpark around this series is different, isn't it?
I think the feeling for this ball club started to be different in spring training, and I have no idea why, only in that they hadn't played together yet. This season, there is a certain amount of electricity every time this team takes the field. And Robin is certainly one of those guys that has a hand in it. Todd Frazier coming over has a hand in it. this team had confidence before they had anything to build on, and it's really held them in good stead heading into the year. So, yes, are there critical series in May? No, but there are big series in May, and this is one of them.
0-1 to Hosmer. Inside and low, ball and a strike from Quintana. Hosmer just 171 this year against left-handed pitching, 385 against right-handed pitching. Strike 2.
Hosmer, a former #1 draft pick of these Royals, as is his counterpart across the diamond when he plays, Eric Moustakas. So they made the most of a couple of #1s. They're the building blocks on the corners.
Busted him inside, strike 3. A worthy start for the first place Sox. No score after a half inning. Major League Baseball in walks. A patient lineup looks a lot different today. Jose Abreu in the 2 spot for the first time this year. That bumps Frazier to 3, Cabrera to 4, Laurie to 5, and Garcia to 6. Different look for the Royals, Steve.
And a very, very solid defensive ball club. We'll take a look left to right. Gordon, Kane, and Orlando in the outfield. Cuthbert, Escobar, Infante, and Hosmer in the infield. Salvador Perez behind the plate, and Perez, one of the best in the business. He's been a leader since he started to play organized ball.
Very good thrower behind the plate. G, first pitch is high from Dylan G, the right-hander lead of the Mets organization. Adam Eaton with 18 multiple hit games and the longest hit streak for the Sox right now at 6. Strike 1.
Our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Dylan G. He's not overpowering. He's 0-1, fine ERA. Spent most of his time out of the bullpen this year. You see this just his second game starting.
Eaton cracks it to right center field, but Kane is on the move for out number 1.
One of the things you'll notice, and it really doesn't matter who they have out there, it's usually the same with Gordon and Kane in left and center. Orlando with big speed in right. If it's in the air and it doesn't go out of the park, it usually does not hit the grass with this outfield. They've been good for a long time, and especially good the last few years.
Brazilian track star in right certainly helps.
No, he can
Orlando.
go get him. Yep.
So 1 out for Jose Abreu in his 35th career game in the 2 position. And he fouls it away. We'll have Dan Hayes here in the second inning to talk about the reasons behind this shift in the lineup. But one of the things Robin Ventura said is he feels like Abreu shortens up more in the 2 spot, and that can help him make more contact.
And also the way that Adam Eaton is getting on base and hitting doubles, the occasional triple. Good man to drive him home is Jose Abreu. Because one of the things he can do, which a lot of guys can't, is take that inside pitch and drive it into right field. So usually when that happens, especially if Adam is at first base, there's a big hole on the right side. Jose can take advantage of that.
Back to the mound for G. And 2 out. Picks to click tonight in Game 1 against the Royals. Our crew, Joe Grube, Dave Ross, Mike Leary, everybody and anybody going with Tyler Saladino, Melky Cabrera for Steve, and Avi Garcia is in my corner tonight. You feel good about Melky this evening, don't you?
I do. I figure that he's psyched up because of T-shirt day and that wonderful emoji of Melky on the T-shirt. So, I mean, it's only natural I would pick him.
2 out for Frazier, who takes a strike. If somebody would have wagered me some money at the beginning of the season that you would have used the word emoji as much as you have, I would have lost. Thank you for following along with the millennials and the Generation Xers like myself.
Well, now you know that texting is my life. You'll realize that there's no problem with that. Actually, I have a steady stream. I have streaming emojis, as a matter of fact.
Check the packaging on that. Pop up by Frazier and foul 1-2.
One of the things we saw in the past series with Houston was that a lot of their pitchers have started to throw face-high fastballs to Todd Frazier. So one of the things he's going to have to do is, that young fan apparently is experiencing some loudness that he's not happy with. 1
inning and no more listening to us. 1-2 for Frazier. Up and in, 2-2.
That's where he's going to top out on that fastball at 91, but his best breaking ball is a curveball. He also throws a cutter to go with it. But you got to lay off the high heat. If he can do that, he'll make him come to him.
Time call. If you're going to get the Royals at all this year so far, the first inning is a good place to do it. They've allowed 30 runs, the most in any inning this year. And Frazier a poke to right. This is trouble, but not big enough trouble. Hosmer is there in a 1-2-3 first. No score after 1 at U.S. Cellular Field. From a Mad Men audition. Thanks for joining us. Nice sport coat. You have a lot to tell us about. Sox lineup is new look today with Abreu in the 2 spot. What's the idea behind that? What reporting have you done on it?
So far, you know, a lot of people are happy with this decision. I mean, I know you guys hear about it on social media a little bit too. Abreu going up there, it's a little bit to shake up the lineup because they've been in a rut, as Robin Ventura said. At the same time, it's to get him going a little bit. Robin Ventura likes the way that Abreu uses the right side of the field, and obviously if Adam Eaton is on first base, you can hit behind the runner, try and move him along, that kind of thing. And I think he thinks getting him in that kind of mindset will get him back to more his own approach. But at the same time, I mean, it's just about getting that number 2, the most effective guy in that number 2 spot and getting him more at-bats.
Did he address the fact that with him in the 2 spot, it's going to make a lot of flexibility behind him? Did he say who he's going to use behind him, or will it be pitcher to pitcher?
Well, he didn't even confirm that it's going to be a long-term thing. He said he's going to try it out here for a few days, but I think it's going to move around, like you said. the same time, Frazier will probably be 3, Melky will be 4. I think they want to line up their best hitters there, at least for right now. Robin Ventura, actually, it's funny, he came on the heels of a day ago, us talking to him when Rollins was dropped to the 6th spot, and just talking about all the conversation that goes into this amongst the coaching staff. And he said, we talked to everybody. He said, I have the last call on this, but it's a daily conversation with Joe McEwing, with Rick Renteria. He said even Don Cooper will get involved in the discussion just to say, this is how I'd pitch that guy. And he solicits, information from everybody as they try to figure out that lineup.
Very interesting scenario because you got a team that's in first place, but the feeling is let's change it up a little bit as the 2-2 on Morales is swung on a miss, strike 3.
Yeah, it's interesting in the fact that this is a better offense. We've seen it. They're scoring a half run a game more than they did last season. They're 6th in the American League in runs. They're 13th, I think, in both leagues in runs scored. Last year they were 28th in average runs scored. So it's clearly a better offense. The defense has been much better behind them, and that's making this offense, get them more wins. But at the same time, I think they realize there have been a few times where it's stalled out, and they're trying to fix that and address it.
Sounds great. Well done, Danny Hayes.
And hopefully that audition comes through.
Yeah, good luck. Roger Sterling needs an understudy, as always, so I think you would fit that. Or maybe Betty Draper. 1 ball. Pitch from Quintana is grounded through. Base hit for Salvador Perez. 1 on and 1 out. As always, a pleasure to be joined by Dan Hayes, our White Sox insider all season long on CSNChicago.com. Presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
I think also some of the thought process that goes behind that is if you stay with Abreu in the 2 spot and you try to mix and match behind him, I think Robin realizes although the offense has been better this year, it has to be better still as we move into the hotter months where offense will be more at a premium. So far, pitchers have been dominating quite a bit. And with some of the teams that are coming up on the schedule, you're going to have to score some runs. And I think Robin would like to see a more consistent offense. And maybe he feels that with nobody entrenched in a certain spot, he can mix and match a bit better.
Well, I know he feels like he's got more parts this year that he can play around with. And when you've got a cushion, it's better to watch film when you won the game than when you lost the game. You got a cushion, you can play around a little bit. Ground ball to first. Abreu spins to second for 1. Return pass. Yes, sir. Double play. Quintana gets 2. No score after 1.5.
Old one to look forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
A raucous start for the Sox defense.
It's been as it has been most of this season, in that you make a good pitch, you get them to hit the ball on the ground, and then good things happen in the infield. So that double play, taking Quintana out of the second inning, and the play in the first inning, spectacular. So 2 innings, 2 very sound defensive plays.
Leaving it to Melky Cabrera and a scoreless draw so far. He takes ball 1, the former Kansas City Royal, back in 2011. On base at a .365 clip in 2016. He's on base again. That's a rocket to left.
Melky got a high fastball, and when you're not overwhelming, high in the strike zone early in the count is not going to get it. That ball tails back over the heart of the plate. Melky takes it the opposite way, and a promising start to the second inning. I'm going to go out on the line and tell you that the Royals, who have increased their win total for 6 straight seasons, will not increase it over the 95 they had last year.
You don't think they're going to hit 96 this year and above?
I don't think so.
500 through the first 40. Brett Laurie, a bouncing ball foul wide of Joe McEwing.
It's about time for Brett to shake off that malaise he's experiencing. He hasn't had a whole lot of contact recently, but when he was turning it on, he was a huge part of this offense. Lately he's been a bit stagnant, but up and down, in and out will be the game for Brett.
Well, we told you the other night that the Sox lead the league in warm embraces, but they're sharing it now with the other team. Eric Hosmer, Melky Cabrera inside their own little photo booth.
Maybe he can convince Hosmer to not have quite as good a series as he's been having this year, because he's been the one consistent bat in that lineup that's done a whole lot of damage.
2 balls and a strike on Laurie. Fouled back into the right. 2-2. Don't cry over sentimental milk, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it was a touching picture. Don't forget, those 2 were teammates.
Correct.
Melky was part of a very good Royal outfield that did something that I can't remember anybody doing.
Oh, Laurie takes one on the body. 2 on, nobody out. And what's that, pray tell?
Well, first we'll watch a painful at bat for Brett Laurie. Unfortunately, he's got that lead elbow padded up, so he should be okay. But they had every outfielder all the way around with at least 40 doubles. That's pretty good.
That's a man who's wearing some armor. Brett Laurie with a big old smile at first.
If you're going to hang on top of the plate, that's not a particularly bad idea. And now Cuthbert comes in, talking with G and Perez on just exactly how they want to defend this. Cuthbert doesn't believe, and justifiably so, there's going to be a bunt here, so he is playing back at third base.
Laurie at first, Cabrera at second, the first threat of the game. With 2 on for the Sox, nobody out. Strike taken by Avi Garcia, who's been a pretty willing swing man on the first pitch this year.
That wasn't a pitch to go after on the first pitch, even if you're guessing fastball. That one was low, just barely nicked the zone, but it was on the outer third, and you might as well wait for a better pitch in the sequence.
On 1 strike. Checked his swing, ball low. 1-1. Avi Garcia has been one of the hottest hitters in this Sox lineup the last 17 games with that hamstring injury embedded there.
Orlando, surprisingly, is playing well over toward the line in right field. You very rarely see a right fielder there for a right-hand hitter.
On the ground to first, Hosmer to second, and that's all they'll get. Escobar at shortstop was a little bit late to the bag, and Cabrera to third, 1 out.
I like what Escobar did, because G was going to have a hard time getting to the bag. So Hosmer, who's a good first baseman, gets it there, but Escobar looks at first. Now he knows it's going to be a difficult play for Dylan G to, one, get to the bag, locate the bag, and pick up the throw from shortstop. So rather than get yourself in trouble, he's still got the double play in order. So runners at the corners and a chance for Alex Avila.
It was a .222 for the year. On base percentage well above that at .333. Single, hit by pitch, and a fielder's choice in this second inning. Throw on Avi. Avila, Jackson, Saladino, the bottom third of the order today for the Sox.
Alex's sacrifice fly in the ballgame last night was the deciding factor, and 2 stolen bases figured prominently in both runs. But the difference here tonight is simple. That man behind the plate, he's not Evan Gattis. He's not catching his first game of the year, and he can shut down a running game. That's Salvador Perez.
Tied atop the Major League leaderboard and runners caught stealing this year. 1-0 on Avila. Is down to shoot for a strike. Dylan G mentioned over from the Mets in his first season with the Royals in start number 2. He had been coming out of the bullpen, but they've had injuries in the rotation, and he misses there. 2-1. Both Chris Young and Chris Medlin went on the DL the same day, so they were down 2/5 of that starting rotation.
I think they're worried about Chris Young only in that every time I hear that somebody's having forearm problems, to me it's a precursor of the Tommy John surgery, because you never know if it's upper forearm or lower forearm.
Strike 2, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and don't forget, next half inning we will have some special guests stopping by. Jack McDowell, Lance Johnson will be here. It is homecoming weekend.
An exciting time. Certainly the fans will get a chance to meet all of the guys coming home on homecoming weekend.
2-2 on Avila. Will have to wait. There's a nice pregame ceremony with Gene Honda down on the field about half an hour before game time. Gene having a laugh with the guys. Tim Raines, Roberto Hernandez here as well. Somebody said something very funny.
And Gene can't control himself.
2-2. Just missed. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Got a break on that call. That was a backdoor curveball that had a piece of the outside corner. Cutter Wendelstedt didn't give it to him, so Austin Jackson waiting patiently in the on-deck circle, seeing if Alex Avila can put the Sox on top early. It's another curveball. Sit back.
3-2 on the way. Is downstairs, ball 4.
So our most patient hitter shows a lot of patience. That was a tantalizing curveball that swept out of the zone, and he loads him up.
It's for Austin Jackson, who in a very small set of at-bats against Dylan G has done very well. He's 2 for 4 against G in his career. Austin this year has hit right-handers better than left-handers by about 65 points.
This Kansas City defense, #1 in the league. Although they're tied with Baltimore for fewest errors, Kansas City on top.
Strike 1 at 91 from G. Cabrera at third, Garcia at second, Avila at first. See if the Sox can turn on the offensive tap early tonight. 0-1. Nothing in 2.
Outfield is shifted toward right center. Alex Gordon, 4-time Gold Glove winner in left field. Lorenzo Cain, one of the best, if not the best, center fielder in the business. And Jason told you about the speed of Paulo Orlando in right field.
Breaking ball hit by Jackson, right center field. Cain stalking it. Cabrera tags. And the Sox lead 1-0.
RBI number 14 for Austin. No chance at the plate, and wisely Cain, seeing that he had no chance, hit the cutoff man, making sure no advancement on the part of Garcia.
So 1 in, still 2 on, 2 out. And Tyler Saladino, who's got a hit in 5 straight starts, stands in. Strike called, fastball inside third on Saladino, who made a brilliant play on the first ball pitch today.
Could have very well set the tone for the entire game, because normally that's a base hit. Now you've got some problems. Escobar, if he gets a base hit, you got to deal with Cain, Hosmer, and then Morales in the first inning.
Fouled away, 0-2.
If you missed it, here's our Xfinity high-speed action replay. First pitch of the game, hit in the hole. No chance, right? Wrong. He guns him down on a skip throw to first base. Doesn't get much better because it's not exactly Salvador Perez running. Escobar's got good speed.
It's so many components of that. The slide, the quick trigger, the on-target throw.
And the fact that after the slide, the quick plant of the right foot, which is the key. Get up, but plant the right foot so you have something to throw against. He knew he couldn't get it there all the way. It got there pretty quickly on the skip.
Blocked by Perez, 1-2 on Saladino. Tyler had a sac fly in that Houston series to try and get the Sox back into the game. That came in the 9th inning to tie it. Houston ended up winning 6-5 on an Evan Gattis 2-run homer in the 11th. Up and in, 2-2. Dylan G really having to work with 23 pitches here in the 2nd inning.
Where he might get hurt is he's throwing all of his fastballs up high, and I don't think it's all by design.
In the air right side, Orlando coming in, angling toward the line for out number 3. 1 run in, Sox lead. Special guest coming next.
picks up his first shutout of the season. No, look at this. Lance comes on. Mercy. What a play by Lance Johnson.
Homecoming weekend, 2 Sox greats are here. You guys could still do that stuff, right?
I don't know about that.
I could stumble on the grass and kind of fall. I could look like Lance did. I can do that.
Nice. Jack McDowell, Lance Johnson, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
300-plus stolen bases, a Cy Young to your name in '93. What's it like being back?
Oh, this is awesome, man. The stadium's beautiful. I mean, it's exciting. You're winning. What more can you ask for?
That's exactly right. Jack?
It was fun seeing everybody. Getting back, saying hey to everybody. Saw some of these guys in spring training a couple of years ago and, over the last couple of years, but seeing the people you haven't seen in a while, it's a lot of fun.
And, Jack, you were the last Cy Young Award winner for the Sox. That was 1993. You got a guy now you think that is pretty good, I guess, might have a chance. But which left-hander are we talking about?
Yeah, it could be either one of them, but you got those wins going up with Chris's end. I was going to talk to him a little bit about that run he's giving up every game because we're going to have to work on that.
Lance, what's your favorite memory from being here with the Sox?
I tell you what, when we went to the playoffs and when we started, it's a combination of the whole time that I was here, and getting to the playoffs and starting to win, coming over here in the new stadium versus losing all the time, ugly over across the street.
One question about that very heavy bat you used. When did you start using that, and why did you use about the heaviest bat in the game at that point?
Well, actually, I used to lunge a little bit, and I had a leg kick, kind of like Hurl. So the weight actually kept me from lunging. Plus, the bat's more dense, and it was my job to get the ball through the infield. So having a denser piece of wood, the ball would shoot off a little harder, and I got more hits. And plus, it made you learn how to swing the correct way. Because if you don't swing correctly when you're swinging the bat that heavy, you're not going to get a hit. So I put myself in a situation where I had to do it correctly.
And Jack, in your day, you probably had the umpires many more times than the guys do today. Of course, with Major League umpires, you might see a guy behind the plate twice, maybe 3 times a year, if that. When you have an umpire, you get familiar with him. Is it easier for you?
You know what? I never went to that level. I never studied umpires and tried to pitch to an umpire or pitch to anything. I went out there and threw to get guys out. One pitch to the next pitch. That was my mentality. Here I'm going to throw this pitch, and now what's my next one going to be? I didn't go out there and say, okay, I'm going to keep the ball low today because we have a low ball umpire. I went out there and attacked with what I had pitch to pitch.
3-2, hit in the air left side, and Melky Cabrera on the way for out number 1. So I got to know, those teams that you guys were on with Robin, who was the guy that you thought was most likely to be the manager in the future, any manager for any team in the future? Was it Robin or was it somebody else?
Wow, that's a good question.
you never thought about that when you were playing. You think, who's going to be the manager, But I think that's the same question about Ozzie. Would you think that Ozzie would have been the manager? Well, you play with the guys, and you don't really think, well, this guy would make a great manager. But then you step back and you go, yeah, I remember Ozzie teach me a bunch of stuff, listening to him teach Robin about base running and stuff. And then you go, Robin, and you go, yeah, I remember him talking about all the stuff about, defense and what he learned on the backfields and things like that. And then now that it's happened, it's a lot easier to go, yeah, that makes sense.
Who was the biggest prankster on that group of guys?
Oh, my God, we had a whole bunch of guys.
Towards the end, Robin ended up getting that. We were talking about that earlier, but it was once he established a comfort level in the big leagues. It wasn't those first handful of years. It was probably after, maybe year 5, 6 that he decided that started to be the thing to get a little more courageous in the clubhouse.
Yeah, we had Robin, we had Timmy. He's making us laugh already since he got to the ballpark. So we having a ball.
What's going through your mind when you step back into this ballpark?
It's just awesome, man. Everything looks better in time. It didn't look this good when we were here, but man, it's nice. It's nice.
A lot of memories.
I talk about how it's special. I remember being a kid and going to my first big league game out at Dodger Stadium. When you see just how green the field is compared to how white those uniforms are, it's something special with baseball on that. And you don't really see that other than in big fields. It's a different thing.
And then seeing the vines out there, Stoney.
Well,
that's a nice touch.
They look a little familiar to both of us. Certainly, there's a little touch of that, but it's really you're right about one thing. The ballpark right now is more beautiful than it's ever been before. They've added little touches here and there, changed it a whole lot. But you guys are members of a very exclusive club. Not only as Major League players, but White Sox players. And so coming back together, it must be just a special feeling from the time you see those old guys and the memories start to kick in.
It really is. It really is. And I was here a couple weeks ago and I was driving down Dan Ryan, and I looked at the stadium and it just looked awesome. I couldn't wait to get in here today.
2-2 on Orlando downstairs. What do you think about this year's team? What do you make of it?
I think they got a chance. With Frazier coming and Rollins coming here, I think that was the special sauce and the special touch that they needed. These guys look like they're together, and you have to love each other to win.
The most consistent thing I've heard about the White Sox is how the team dynamic has changed, and how it is a group that's pulling together right now. And I know that the modern age of baseball doesn't put as much weight on that as they do statistical analysis and things like that. But I'll tell you what, you can win 1 or 2 more games putting together the correct lineup. You're going to win 10 more with guys pulling for each other in the clubhouse.
No doubt.
Well, all of us who have played this game and been in that locker room realize how important that is. Sometimes it's lost to people who haven't been in that locker room very much, but I think it's not lost on a Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams-led administration with the Sox, because they brought in Todd Frazier this year to do just that, and he's done a remarkable job, along with the other additions to this team, of changing the chemistry, the thought, the idea of going out there every day. It's been wonderful to be around this year.
Yeah, and like when we were rookies, we had Pudge and Hurl, and those guys, they were teaching us stuff and helping us get better.
Strikeout for Orlando. Guys, great to see you.
Hey, thanks for having us.
One of the greats,
Jack,
for the White Sox, standing next to another one of the greats. Jack McDowell, Lance Johnson here on a homecoming weekend. 1-0 Sox. $79 by purchasing an Abreu 4-pack. Each pack includes 4 upper box game tickets, 4 hot dog value meals, and a parking pass. Abreu 4-packs are available now for all Thursday home games. Visit whitesox.com/Abreu to order yours today. It's great to see those guys. Lance Johnson, Jack McDowell, 2 of the greats. 2 more coming up tomorrow. Roberto Hernandez, Tim Raines.
What's really nice about it is that they're very excited to be here. It's getting together with all the guys you played with, and now you've had a lot of perspective being away from the game for a long time, and those guys are genuinely excited to be here, which is great to see, and both a big part of White Sox history.
And you just wonder You know, 1994, they were the core of that team. You end up with a strike year in 94, and it was going to be the Sox in Cleveland going down to the wire.
And on the other side of the equation, that Montreal team in 94 was about as good as it got. It was shaping up to be a great World Series, one that we'll never really know how it would have worked out, but there was some pretty good teams that never got a chance to hook up in the ultimate stage.
Fouled off by Eaton. Might have saved a franchise if that strike never happened. Who knows what happens to the Expos?
Yeah, you know, they were pretty good fans, and then all of a sudden turned away from the game after that. But boy, they could develop talent.
First base and Hosmer for out number 1. Well, Steve, we have a new addition to the prize shelf here.
We do, and you know, we told you that both the dog and the gnome were kidnapped, held hostage. They returned the dog as a show of good faith. The gnome is still missing. We would encourage you to let us know where it might be hiding. But in the meantime, that baseball.
Oh, you just broke the prize shelf.
Prize shelf is gone, but the baseball lives on. It is Mayor Richard M. Daley, the #1 Sox fan. You can have that. You can have the fedora, which, if you remember, we had a fedora from a few weeks ago.
That's our buddy Larry Fedora, right? We named him.
And we have a spectacular T-shirt.
We have a new T-shirt that Brad Boron and the social media crew, evidently the printers were bored. So we have a new shirt. It says, "My head hurts because of Sox math. You can win it in the 4th inning."
You can win that. You can also win 4 passes to the zoo.
That's right, and one of them signed by Night Train Vec.
Yeah, so that's pretty good because you can never get enough of animals, and a trip to the zoo is terrific, and you can bring 3 other people with you and go for free. So anyway, a literal plethora of gifts. We can't keep them on the shelf. They're flying off the shelf.
One out, and Abreu swings through it. Strike 3. That's what hotcakes look like when they're going. 2 out for Frazier.
We did have a wonderful tweet that we'll share with you that one of our fans tweeted in that the gnome was being hidden in Colby Rasmus's hair. For those who saw that series, Colby is a Houston outfielder with much, much hair.
Yeah, he is a shaggy Astro. As Frazier swings through the first pitch from G. 1-0 Sox on a sac fly from Austin Jackson in the 2nd inning.
G throwing the ball well. He actually threw it very well out of the bullpen. He was a starter most of his career with the Mets, so he's no stranger to that. And right now, throwing it pretty well. That curveball has good bite.
Like that. 1 ball, 1 strike. Todd Frazier, team leader in home runs, tied for 3rd in Major League Baseball, and 5 of them have come in his last 10 games. One and 2 on Frazier, who with the lineup change is into the 3 spot for the first time this year. Abreu into 2, Frazier 3, Cabrera 4. On the ground at 3rd, Cuthbert across the way, and he's safe. Hosmer couldn't hang on. Sox get a runner here in the 3rd.
Normally, Hosmer makes that play. Cuthbert came on, charged it well. He's played a good 3rd base defensively. He's got some time, gets it across, and that's got to be E3 because that ball did not hit the dirt.
It is E3. So our first error of the series goes against Hosmer, and Melky has a shot with 2 out and a runner at first here in the 3rd. Popped up, foul ground. Perez after it, and no play.
was a good fastball by G as he got it right in on the hands of Melky.
Singleton scored last inning. Just short of 50 pitches tonight for G, and Frazier was barely off the bag. We saw that earlier this year, where Todd was standing at first and was thrown on.
He's trying to get that walking lead and see if G will give it to him.
He thought about breaking, and Melky ships one out to left center field and down. First and second, 2 out.
Didn't get a whole lot of it as G threw it in the same spot on the second pitch as he did on the first pitch. This one with a little cut on it, and Melky able to just drop it over the head of Escobar, landing very nicely in front of Kane in center field. Another chance to add on to that lead. Melky very happy with that, as you would expect.
The former Royal himself with a 2-for-2 against Kansas City already tonight. And here is Brett Lawrie, who was plunked on the elbow in the second inning. He takes a ball.
That was a fortuitous plunking.
Yes.
Because it led to the run.
Talented drummer, fortuitous plunking.
That's, yeah, from that band you so very much like.
Yeah. Their lead guitarist, he can really inside 2-0 on Lawrie. And Brett's had an interesting year. His walk rate is up. He's swinging at fewer bad pitches than ever before in his career, but his strikeout number is at 55 for the year, though Rick Hahn and the staff, Robin Ventura, have liked his at-bats and points throughout the season. 2-1 on him. Just got the day off yesterday with Carlos Sanchez playing second.
Todd Steverson, the hitting coach, and a young lady enjoying the concession stand.
Is that a dog?
That is a dog, and I think you will notice that there isn't a whole lot of ketchup on it.
Statute of limitations on that has run.
No, it has not.
2-1. Lawrie swings and misses 2-2 on the Sox second baseman. I think there's some ketchup on the old right cheek there, actually. That's one of the dangers of ketchup. Oh, double-barreled hot dog action.
No, that's actually a hamburger, and she probably had a taste of her brother's hamburger.
Right field side and foul from Lawrie. Don't worry, nobody's watching you eat.
See that yellow thing on top?
Yeah.
You know what that's called?
I think mustard, Uncle Steve. 2-2, 2 on, 2 out. And Lawrie takes strike 3. Another borderline pitch he gets rung up on. Second strikeout of the inning for Dylan G. And we go to the fourth. Celebrate the 25th anniversary of U.S. Cellular Field this weekend, and who can forget this moment? Number 500 for one of the nicest men to ever play the game, Jim Thome. 426 feet in the ninth inning, a come-from-behind walk-off homer, 9-7 the final, and it was on his bobblehead day that he was carried off as the Sox hero that he was.
That's carrying off a pretty big man. I'm not sure if Bobby Jenks was ever the same after that.
We had both of them in the booth during spring training, and two big dudes.
Very large. And it's only fitting that home run went to left center field. Told me he had some of the biggest power to the opposite field of anybody that ever played this game.
He had some interesting things to say about that to us in spring training, how he developed that outfield, opposite field power to the outfield. One strike, Quintana to Escobar. And he's going to try it again at shortstop. Saladino up to the task one more time. Maybe go somewhere else at the next at bat.
This time a little easier than the last. The backhand. He's got some time. And Jose able to pluck it out of the air, keep his foot on the bag. That's what Escobar was looking at.
So one down for Lorenzo Cain. Quintana still has faced the minimum, only a single from Perez. The lone base runner for the Royals tonight.
Cain came over originally from Milwaukee. It's a deal where they got a whole lot of the future for some of the present in Zach Greinke.
Way up there, 1-1. There's that face-high fastball you've been talking about with Quintana.
He's as good as there is in the game at changing eye levels. That first pitch was down. When you get a hitter used to looking there, you go up and out of the zone. The pitch is called higher than high, and nobody does it better than Jose.
1-1. And he pops it up. Abreu for out number 2. Join us at U.S. Cellular Field as the White Sox take on, looking here, the Kansas City Royals, Saturday, June 11th. First 20,000 fans get a White Sox Hawaiian shirt presented by Beggar's Pizza. Visit whitesox.com to purchase your tickets today. By the way, the Beggar's Pizza clothing line, and it doesn't look like that. Is that Tyler Saladino's cousin, by the way, with the mustache?
Well, his twirls up. Tyler's kind of droops on the end.
It's his evil twin. There's a strike on Hosmer. Beggar's Pizza has brought us the Hawaiian shirt and the fedora so far this year. There's a look at Saladino's stash. Out and low, 1-1.
Early in the career of Eric Hosmer, he had a hard time hitting the ball out of the park. There you see the career numbers against the Sox. 10 home runs, 35 driven in 87 games. Still not a power hitter, but he has power.
Still not a power hitter, but he has power.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
Well, he wouldn't be considered a guy, when you look at the list of first basemen, that you would consider consistently hitting the ball out of the ballpark. But because he's a line drive hitter, many of those line drives go out of the park. So you consider the park he plays in, and we know how big it is in the alleys. A lot of those line drives are doubles. You take him on the road and things get a little bit better for him, and as he's gotten older, used to situational hitting, knowing what pitchers are going to do with him, he has started to hit the ball out of the park with more frequency.
3-1 for Hosmer. And he fouls it back. 3-2. A hit in 34 of his 40 games this year, and 3 of those without a hit came in the first week of the season.
He's a good player, and he had to pick up some slack with Moustakas out of the lineup.
On the ground, Laurie at second base, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Quintana. Now that Sox Math has a shirt, it's gotten too big for the top of the fourth, the prima donna in the home fourth. Here's your question. Use the hashtag SoxMath. Tweet in your answer. First one gets something off the prize shelf. Sox current win total multiplied by the number of the position that Austin Jackson regularly plays this year, the baseball number. Tyler Saladino's age added to that, and subtract Roberto Hernandez's total saves in a White Sox uniform. That is your Sox Math question. Use the hashtag SoxMath on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf, which has been reformulated, though Steve broke it about an inning ago.
Having some big trouble with architectural abilities on that prize shelf.
Does anybody know any relatives of Frank Lloyd Wright? Ball one to Avi Garcia. Sox lead 1-0 and a sac fly from Austin Jackson in the home second inning. They're there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Avi Garcia.
Infield exactly straight away. Outfield a shade as an opposite field hitter.
2-1 on Garcia.
Salvador Perez tried to absorb that cutter, trying to make it look better than it was, but Hunter Wendelstedt felt it was outside, and it was.
Poke foul. 2-2 on Avi.
G made a mistake with that cutter, and that ball had the middle of the plate. Avi just fouled it back.
Venezuelan-born designated hitter Avi Garcia, who's actually hit righties very well this season at .277. That's a foul ball down the line. Very close. Very close. Jerry Lane was on it.
Avi took a low curveball and just missed. Now it's not where it hits, as you know, it's where it went over the bag. Jerry Lane was in perfect position, and that ball did not have the corner of the bag. That was a good call.
That last bounce carried well into foul territory. Another foul ball from Garcia. He'll see a 7th pitch this time up. The Sox with 3 against Kansas City and 4 against the Indians in 3 days. 2.5 game lead right now in Cleveland, 4.5 on the Royals. 2-2 here is called strike 3, borderline, and he got it. So 1 down. Provide your guests with the ultimate all-inclusive White Sox experience in the home plate club or Magellan Scout Seats. These 2 premium seating areas are the best way to entertain your most important clients, employees, friends, or family. For more information, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com/premium seating. If you ask really nicely, you can just sit in Steve's chair.
Well, let's rethink that.
Well, you have a chair downstairs. I was just referring to the one that you have downstairs.
The one that I bought
with your $100 bill that you handed to Christine O'Reilly a couple nights ago.
That's true. Gotta get that back. No, I can't. It's a charitable gift. Are you kidding?
You already wrote it off. 1 strike to Avila, who walked on 6 pitches in the second inning against Dylan G. Former Texas Arlington pitcher.
It's a good look from center field, and in that look we could see Southpaw in the background. Enjoying the ball game.
Not a fitted hat on Southpaw.
It's hard to get one that size.
1-2 to Avila.
This series just had a little something special to it, and Ned Yost talking about the series before the game echoed what a lot of managers would say, that he realizes that you got to beat the team that's in first place, but it also is May, and so critical series don't come around in May. But this one just a little something special.
Nice running fastball for strike 3, and G wipes away Avila. 2 down.
So let's take a look at the games coming up, including tonight. 3-game series with these Royals. Then it's 4 with the Indians, including that doubleheader And 4 games with the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. The Royals have been very good at home. They've been mere mortals on the road.
Strike one with 2 out. Kansas City 7-13 away from Kauffman Stadium this year. Austin Jackson, the lone RBI tonight for either team.
Ned Yost was talking about his ball club and how it was determined to make this team as it is. And he said you have to take into consideration the ballpark. And so playing in the biggest park, realizing that you have to have speed because you have to go get him in the outfield. You're not going to hit as many home runs. And this team is tailored to that park. They did a terrific job of it, coming 1 game from winning 2 World Series in a row. But the real challenge will be putting out that carrot this year, because they finished the game short 2 years ago. They said, okay, let's get the job done.
Jackson hits it into center, and with the shift on, Austin Jackson plops in a single.
Keeps the inning alive and forces more pitches from Dylan G. This is a rolling slider or cutter. He keeps his head down right on it, stays with it. You pull off that ball and you're not going to get much contact, if any. Turns it into a base hit. But coming off losing the World Series by 90 feet, as it turns out, you had the incentive of going to try to win one, which they did last year. Now, having done that, the incentive to get the team back to say, let's do it again.
Saladino punches it through the right side. Jackson turns second for 3, and he's there standing up. So the Sox have a rally bubbling up here in the 4th.
Two 2-out hits as Tyler Saladino takes it just to the right of Eric Hosmer. So chance for Adam Eaton. Kane is playing very shallow in center field. Eaton is strong, and a lot of guys will play in only to get burned.
13 extra base hits this year for Eaton as he brushes this one down the line, and it rolls foul.
Every ball club should, when they go to a park for the first time, have not only the pitcher, but the men at the corners roll the ball down the line to see which way it rolls. You saw the spin on that, and G let it roll foul. He would have had no chance at all to get Eaton. But it's imperative for a visiting team coming to a park for the first game especially to figure out how it rolls down the line. We see a lot of guys do it. We see some teams that don't. Most of the veteran teams, especially a team as good as Kansas City, they will do that. It's one of the reasons you know when it gets close, it is going to trickle into the foul side.
It's a very quick process, right? You just roll a couple balls.
Roll it down, roll it a couple different times, and then you have an idea. There are some that are, if you have a good bunting team, a fast team, sometimes that ball doesn't roll foul.
A 1 for Eaton. He turns away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's a big gap in right center field. If G will throw one of those cutters, Adam can get out in front and make them pay for the defensive alignment.
Ball and a strike. He pokes it foul. 1-2 for Eaton.
That was a fastball way in off the plate. And Adam, who's also been a very tough man to strike out this year, got a piece of it, but not too much.
Adam Eaton, with 61 plate appearances this year with runners on base, has struck out only twice. One and two. Nope, 2-2.
Tough pitch to lay off. It was very close. It was the fastest fastball he's thrown in this sequence.
2 balls, 2 strikes, first and third, 2 out. Eaton fouls it away. "76 pitches already for G, 51 strikes.
And it hasn't been because he's walked people, because he hasn't walked anybody. One guy, Avila, on a curveball in the second.
Eaton lunges to foul it away.
That fell into the category of too close to take. He didn't want to leave it in the hands of Hunter Wendelstedt. That ball was off the plate, but it moved off the plate. I think when Adam saw it, he realized he had to go get it, and he was able to stay alive. So there you look at pitch number 78 forthcoming.
Eaton up the middle, second base. Infante retires the side. So G gets the ground ball and keeps the Sox at bay 1-0 after 4 tonight in the series opener. A hearty welcome to all of our viewers watching on RTC in Rochester, Indiana. I've been to Rochester, Minnesota and Rochester, New York, but I've never been to lovely Rochester, Indiana.
It's gorgeous.
Is it?
Yeah, especially in the fall.
Here's Morales, who struck out his first time. Kendrys Morales takes a strike.
The Royals took a gamble on Morales. He stayed a free agent for quite some time. And last year they decided they needed a fairly big bat in the middle of the lineup. They got a switch hitter, and Morales had a pretty big year for them. He's a good hitter. Doesn't have a whole lot of speed, but he showed that leg injury that he had, which actually curtailed his career for a bit, isn't really affecting him.
Bizarre injury, too. Celebrating grand slam, right?
Yeah, he came down the line. Team was assembled at home plate. He jumped on the plate and shattered his ankle, part of the lower part of his leg. Didn't recover all that well.
Right field, Eaton driven back, and he settles for out number 1. Here's your Sox math answer for tonight. Current win total's 25. Austin Jackson center field, that's 8. Saladino's age is 26, so 226 minus Roberto Hernandez's 161 saves. 65 is the answer. Riles 23 was first. Michael Kenny Jr. was second. Riles 23 gets entered into, Steve.
Well, he's in our Tournament of Champions, and the prizes will be vouchers for an upcoming White Sox game. Once you've won, we'd like to have other people with a chance to win, but we're not going to leave you out there. We're going to enter you in our Tournament of Champions special drawing and vouchers for a future White Sox game will be the prize. So, Riles 23, you're in line.
A multiple winner
Yeah.
in Sox Math. And if he really wants one, he can have one of the new snazzy Sox Math t-shirts. Figure if you're in the Tournament of Champions, you should at least have the option of having a My Head Hurts Because of Sox Math shirt.
Well, that is actually a limited edition, however.
It is.
So you could be the first in your neighborhood to get one. Maybe the last also.
Quite possibly. 2-1 on Salvador Perez. Quintana just at 50 pitches through 4 1/3 tonight.
Very rare to bring up a catcher who can control a staff and still produce offensively. Perez is that kind of catcher. When you do get one, when you bring one up through your system and you find that guy, you tend to stay with him for a long time. They signed him long-term to a very team-friendly contract, and then just last year they reworked that contract to make it a little bit fairer for a guy they figure a cornerstone in their organization.
He'll take some big swings, and as he did right there, he makes the count 3-2. Quintana right now, his lowest walks per 9 of his career. It's at 188 for this season. As he stares down Perez on 3-2. Shortstop Saladino's been perfect tonight, fading away. This time he got him. Abreu off the bag to rescue the 6-3 ground out.
Very good play on both ends as Tyler Saladino goes in the hole. This ball is up the line. Ned Yost at first wanted to appeal it, but he got him. Abreu does a great job. This ball hit the seam where the dirt meets the grass. It bounded up. The throw off the mark. It gets the left elbow, so not anything to look at again as Perez trying to avoid the baseball, trying to avoid Abreu. Out nonetheless.
2 down for Gordon, who takes inside. We saw during the road trip, Saladino had a similar play. He was sliding into second base. His feet kicked up, and he got tagged, caught stealing because his feet were in the air. There, Perez trying to dodge the ball coming in and dodge Abreu. Gets tagged on the elbow that he displayed.
That would have been a much easier play had the ball not hit the grass lip where the dirt inserts into it. And when that happens, the ball's going to take a bounce that you can't predict. So you keep the glove down. You can always come up with the bounce. If you keep the glove up, you can't go down if it flattens out. So let's take a look again. Tyler keeps the glove down. You see it there. It hits the seam, bounds up, hits him in the heel of the glove, but he's able to corral it, get off a throw, and then Abreu really helps on the other end.
Little English from Tyler, trying to make it go over at first. 1-2. Gordon takes low.
Gordon was a free agent for a while. It looked like he wasn't going to come back to Kansas City. That would have been a very big blow to this team because he gives them a consistent left-handed bat. He gives them a 4-time Gold Glove winner, and he gives them one of the leaders on this team.
3-2. Well, he's a Nebraska native, and his mom Leslie said, "I just knew he'd come to the right decision." He's a Midwestern guy, and Mom says, "Yeah, he's Kansas City."
Well, look, he was going to make his money anywhere. It's just a question of where he was comfortable. He was very comfortable with the group of players that he came up with. But the oddity, if there is any, he was a #1 draft pick of this Royal team, and they've made the most, by the way, their #1s. But he was a third baseman by trade and spent most of his career there until Kansas City decided to shift him to left field. They thought he would be good. They didn't know he would be great. And that's not an easy shift from third base to left field.
He's got a 3-2 count against Quintana here. And Jose got him. That's his third strikeout to end an inning tonight, and halfway home, 1-0 Sox. have not seen it yet.
No, you have kept that in abeyance, our Chuck, and we are waiting with bated breath to see that.
Yeah, that's a good tease right there. They taught him that at Viking television. Abreu takes a strike to lead off the bottom of the fifth.
Those of you joining us late, a brand new lineup. Jose is in the 2 spot. Everybody else lining up behind Eaton and Abreu.
Tried to check his swing.
Gabe Morales says he did swing.
So 0-2 on Abreu from Dylan G, the right-hander who was drafted pretty late. 21st round, 2007 out of college. To third, and Cuthbert, 1 out.
Tomorrow, David Accam and the Fire are back in town for a match with former midfielder Alex and Dynamo. The Dynamo, by the way. Coverage begins at 3:30 on CSN+.
1 out for Frazier. You can join us for that MLS friendly. Mentioned G in the 21st round 2007. He went 663rd to the Mets, and 21 spots before that was a guy that you may have heard of, Steve Stone.
Yes.
In 2007.
I've got everything memorized from 2008 up.
Oh, this is unfortunate for you. He was out of Lakeland Senior High School.
Yes.
He's a left-hander, young left-hander out of high school. Went to the Rockies, pick number 642 in 2007. You've seen him recently.
I have.
Yeah, very recently.
Not our Chris Sale.
Yeah, Chris Sale. Same round as Dylan G. Drafted out of high school by the Rockies, didn't sign, went to Florida Gulf Coast, and ended up here with the Sox.
Well, a couple of differences in why they were drafted Chris, a very young man. They're taking a shot on him because I'm sure he was a very thin man at that point. But right-handed pitchers, if they don't throw hard, they're going to be drafted down in the draft. And look at what Chris Sale has done so far. Unbelievable. 9 starts, 9 wins, 1.58 ERA, 3 complete games, which is a rarity. Back-to-back complete games, which is even more rare. But you can take a hard-throwing right or left-hander, they'll draft them up in the draft. The softer-throwing right-handers will be drafted down in the draft whether they can pitch or not.
G's got a strike, 3-2. Frazier dropped off his baseball bat and was heading to first.
On the other side of the equation, soft-tossing left-handers, if they know what they're doing, will be drafted up higher. It's just there are fewer left-handers than right-handers, and that's why Dylan G made it to the major leagues, but drafted way down.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
3-2 for Frazier. And he hits it in the air, first base side, foul ground, and Hosmer with Darrell Boston trying to stay out of the way, and there are 2 down in the 5th. So Melky Cabrera, who is 2 for 2 tonight, stands in. Ball 1 high. There's a palpable buzz around the ballpark tonight. Certainly fireworks Friday night. But the Royals in town and the Sox with an early lead thanks to Melky Cabrera touching home in the 2nd inning.
And that time, Dylan G couldn't let go of the baseball. Looked like his spikes caught. And we'll have to see if he's okay. Apparently just a little embarrassment, but he is all right. Best break he caught was nobody on base. Let's see if it's the front spike that catches. Yep, that's exactly what happens. And when that does happen, Melky, number 1, bails out. He doesn't know where the baseball is, so he's just going to run and turn his back. I can understand that.
That was no thanks from Melky.
Yeah, he didn't know if G let it go or exactly where the ball was going. He just knew that he was out of there.
you have that happen?
Yes. I think everybody who's ever pitched has had it happen a few times, but sometimes, for whatever reason, that lead foot, the spike will catch, and after that, you're in trouble. There's nothing you can do.
2-1. Swing and a miss, 2-2 on Melky.
Royals bullpen up and going. It's Peter Moylan. Remember, this is just Dylan G's second start, so he wasn't stretched out after the injury to Chris Young.
Called strike 3. Right down the heart to Melky Cabrera. So a 1-2-3 inning for G. Still a 1-0 game here in Chicago. Of U.S. Cellular Field this year, and sticking with that theme, 10 years ago today, the slap of the plate and a closed fist for you. Michael Barrett, A.J. Pierzynski for ejections, 15-minute delay, and a riled-up crowd to a 7-0 Sox win. The punch that they heard all the way throughout Chicagoland.
Looked like a Batista brawl with a clean punch thrown by Michael Barrett.
We'll check with CompuBox this half inning to see whether or not Odor or Barrett had the better numbers. The foul ball from Cuthbert, as Quintana has retired 10 in a row since the single by Perez in the second inning. Now, people are still talking about that here in Chicago.
Yep.
And rightfully so. One tough cookie, A.J. Pierzynski. One. Sails in for strike 2. A ball and 2 strikes.
Hasn't used the curveball all that often, but that time caught the upper reaches of the strike zone.
Foul and out of play. Fan had a chance at it, couldn't put it away. Cuthbert, whose spot in the starting lineup is likely very tenuous. You mentioned Moustakas can come off tomorrow.
I believe that he's probably going to go down when that happens, and when he goes down, odds are overwhelming they will play him at second base, trying to ease him into that position because they like what he's done, they like his hands, and they think that he might be better suited for second.
Flare to shortstop. Saladino is on it, and there is out number 1.
Tomorrow afternoon, join us for Game 2 of this AL Central Showdown. Coverage begins at 12:30 with White Sox pregame live, presented by the Koalas family of dealerships, followed by Sox and Royals right here on CSN Chicago.
Hope you can join us. for Game 2 of this series. Danny Duffy, Miguel Gonzalez, scheduled starters. Then Ventura and Rodon on Sunday. Strike from Quintana. So we've talked about this before. Fielding independent pitching, the metric that shows you how well you do without defenders essentially out there, taking out the luck that has to do with fielding. And Quintana at 219 to start the year, which is a fantastic number as he gets hit by Infante. And the Royals have their first runner to second base tonight. It's a one-out double for Omar Infante.
Well, that time Jose tried to get inside. That ball was inside off the plate. But Infante, with quick hands, gets a good part of the bat on it. And you see on our Honda pitch tracks that it was well inside, yet he was able to get his hands out, the good part of the bat, and he winds up at second base.
So he's at second, one out for Orlando. We're talking about FIP. There's also this XFIP, which is your expected fielding independent pitching by the end of the season. And Quintana's is a little bit higher than normal, simply because the point being, he hasn't given up many home runs at all this year. He's kept the ball down. Yeah.
One home run this year to this point.
Strike two, Orlando.
Lowry playing up the middle. He's the man that's going to have to keep Infante close, as Saladino playing a straightaway shortstop.
And now Avila out to talk to Quintana.
And because you use a different set of signs with the man at second base, and this is the first time that anybody's been on second, Alex goes out to make sure that he's on the same wavelength with Jose Quintana. Always a good thing to do, because you never take for granted that a guy is going to understand what pitching sequence you're going to use. And because it is the first time it's happened tonight, Alex goes out just to make sure.
All the way into the sixth inning for that first runner in scoring position for the Royals tonight, who just won 2 of 3 from the Red Sox. Right field and trouble. The Royals are on the board as Orlando splits the gap. It's an RBI double and a 1-1 score.
RBI number 6 for Paulo Orlando, his third double of the year. And so after being completely handcuffed, one hit through 5, the back-to-back doubles tied up the ball game. Adam does a nice job of getting to it, but Orlando has big speed.
But maybe he'd think about 3. He's a big triples guy in his career.
If that ball was mishandled, he would have undoubtedly put on the Jets and gone to third, or at least tried.
So runner at second, 1 in, 1 out in a tie game here in the 6th. Pitch number 70 from Quintana. Escobar takes a strike.
Escobar not known as a pull hitter, but Jose has stayed inside on him, so both times he's hit the ball to the right of Tyler Saladino, so you don't want to get too tied into playing up the middle. You got Lowry to hold Orlando close at second.
Oh, 0-1. Fouled right side.
That was by Rusty Kuntz, first base coach. Long time Major League coach. And one of the real good guys around as you look at the matchup. Quintana, Escobar. Quintana's won the first 2 rounds.
Nothing in 2. Shortstop again. Saladino one more time from his knees. Escobar gets the better of him the third trip. But Saladino kept it on the infield.
Made a great effort. But again, 3 at-bats, 3 times the ball's hit to his right. This time, spectacular effort. Just can't get it there in time. So it brings Don Cooper out from the dugout for the first trip tonight.
Shortstop to shortstop. Sorry, buddy, can't get it by me.
No, he robbed him once, made a good play the second time, and that time, Escobar won the battle.
So 3 straight hits. And the double play now in order. You also have the left-hander Hosmer on deck. First, Kane, who had a 10-game hit streak broken on Wednesday before the Royals took an off day to get here to Chicago for this 3-game series. Foul ball. All-star last year, Lorenzo Cain against Quintana. Oh, 0-2.
Every year for the last 3 years, Cain has seen the power go up, the runs batted in go up, and last year 16 home runs, 72 driven in. By far in the major leagues his best power numbers.
Royals got him in the same deal as Escobar.
Yeah, from Milwaukee.
1-2. The easiest guy to double off either. Some good speed in those legs.
Great speed on the bases.
In the air left side, Melky on the move, still going. This ball is fair off the wall. 1 run coming home. Orlando scores, and it's 2-1 Royals.
Cain driving in, number 21. 3 doubles and a single in the inning. This is a curveball down. Cain stays right with it. Melky over toward the line, but can't get to it. So some more trouble for Quintana. Cain knows if it stays fair, he's in pretty good shape. So trying everything he can to use body English to keep it inside the lines, which he was able to do. So now the infield will come in at all 4 positions.
Sox led this 1-0 until the 3 doubles and a single. Hosmer, the lefty, with first base open and everyone creeping in. Abreu now has the runner Escobar caught up. Avila takes him back toward the bag. Frazier puts the tag down, and 2 out.
Well done by Alex Avila. Good play by Jose Abreu, and coming to Avila, what he's got to do is make that runner commit. He doesn't want to get rid of the ball too early, because if he gets it to Frazier, that man's going to come right back to the plate, and then Escobar is going to be able to go to third. A good tag. And I mean Cain able to go to third, and right here he puts a tag on and the runners have to stay right there.
Sox have done well in rundowns.
They have, and they worked very hard on it in the spring, and it's really shown because they're not using too many throws to get out of it, and they're always running the guy back to the base he came from.
So a little bit lighter of a situation. First and second, 2 out. And a ball inside on Morales, who struck out in the second and flied out to right in the 5th.
With this Kansas City bullpen, as good as they are, this is a huge situation. You get out of this one with just 2 runs, considering they had 3 doubles and a single in the same inning. Considered a job well done by Quintana and the defense.
One and one on Morales.
Kansas City bullpen still up and going, which would lead you to believe that Ned Yost got his 5 out of G, and he will probably go to that pen. Luke Hochevar, another former #1 draft pick, first player picked in the country, moving from the rotation and now a mainstay out of that pen.
Left side pass, Saladino. Kane around third. Cabrera coming home. It's offline. 3-1.
RBI number 17 for Morales. This curveball stays up, and the breaking ball this inning for Jose has not been real good. Bear in mind, coming into this game, as great as he's been against just about everybody else, he's just 1-6 lifetime against Kansas City. And the Royals now have a 2-run lead.
His 3rd worst ERA against any American League team. Had him quiet through 5 1/3, and then suddenly 4 of the last 5 have hits. And Salvador Perez trying to make it sting some more. Time call. A little bit low. 1 ball, no strikes on Perez, who's now on a 6-game hit streak, and the bullpen loosening for the Sox.
Zach Putnam throwing in the pen.
See any difference in Jose Quintana this inning?
Just a big difference in the breaking ball, and why it suddenly starts to roll instead of breaking sharply, nobody really knows. I say only at 82 pitches because normally he can go 110 without a great drop-off and stuff. But he's made some pitches that were in the strike zone, just not real good pitches.
He had a 5-inning, 1-hit game going until this 6th. Quintana 2-0 on Perez. 2-1.
Well, it's cotton candy time for the young lady. She's
Sticky situation.
absolutely not concerned at all about this 3-run rally to this point. She realizes the Sox have come back late a lot. In the meantime, some cotton candy in order.
And a foul ball, 2-2.
That ball was way in off the plate.
It's a family affair.
It is that.
A sibling sugar rush.
Got to convince her dad to have some.
She's willing to share. 2-2 on Perez. Upstairs fastball ends the threat, but the Royals get 3-1.
take a look at Game 5 of the World Series, the final out, as the Royals win for the first time since 1985. Wade Davis celebrates. We'll take a look at the two teams. Dick Hauser, the manager. Then it was Ned Yost. The opponents, the Cardinals and the Mets. The MVP, Brett Saberhagen, and the fine catcher, Salvador Perez. And the common opponent in the ALCS, the Blue Jays. And then you can see Hall of Famer George Brett, the MVP. And now we've got Luke Hochevar coming in the ball game at 1-0, on for the 19th time. His ERA 3.12. Left-handers have done nothing with him. Right-handers a little bit better. And the Sox don't want to get deep in that pen and have to face Herrera and Wade Davis. They've been close to unhittable this year.
First pitch, a strike to Laurie, who struck out on a close pitch in the third inning. One ball, one strike. Well, the Sox have seen some dangerous arms in the bullpen with that series in New York with Betances and Miller and Chapman. Ken Giles with his very electric stuff out of the Astros bullpen, and the Royals certainly have a couple of contenders as Laurie makes it 1-2. Saw a stat today of guys with their percentage of fastballs at 100 miles an hour or higher. Aroldis Chapman, about 45% of his fastballs are 100 or higher. Second place is 5%.
He's going to be a free agent, and the Yankees felt that if this was going to be their year, they would take a gamble on Chapman. He is back now, the back end of their bullpen, close to unhittable. The Royals have been very good, and an interesting career path for Luke Hochevar. #1 player chosen overall in the draft. That was back in 2006. He was a starting pitcher each and every year until he got hurt. He did not play in 2014. Coming back and moving in the bullpen, it's been a revelation for him.
Broken bat, shortstop Escobar, a little hop, and out #1. Time for tonight's edition of Sticks and Stone, our favorite quiz for Steve Stone. How'd you do against Cookie Rojas?
Well, I do remember that if he took his glasses off, he couldn't see very well, but he was one of those pesky little right-hand hitters. I remember facing him as a member of a couple of different clubs, and I think I did okay. I don't think he hit many home runs. I don't think it was exactly Dwayne Kuiperish against me.
It was only one, but it was a very memorable one.
It was that.
Especially for him.
Cookie was a very good, very smart player. And I believe you know his son, Victor Rojas.
Indeed. Got a chance to meet him in spring training. Fouled away again, the opposite way for Avi Garcia. 16-year career for Cookie Rojas.
He was a good one. As long as you never use George Brett in any of those comparisons against the Royals, I'll probably be not great, but okay.
There are a lot of games
George Brett
against the Royals.
Was miserable for me, not for him.
1-2 on Avi Garcia. See, why would you say that, though? I mean, you say that, and then you know what's going to happen.
No, I happen to know this one.
George Brett?
Yeah, it was awful.
No, I mean, we're gonna have to do it at some point. Now that you mentioned, we're gonna find some video.
How about during the playoffs?
2-2.
Nice job of holding up. Hochevar lost a full season to injury. He was a good but not a great starter. Really never lived up to what they thought he was going to be when they drafted him #1 overall. And so It was a lot like Wade Davis. Wade Davis was a good starter, not a great starter. They moved him in the bullpen. The rest is history. The same thing has happened with Hochevar, who hasn't exactly moved into the closer role, but still a very valuable man out of their pen.
2-2, 1 out. Taken for strike 3. Couple close pitches have not gone the Sox way tonight. 2 out. And here are the numbers for Mr. Rojas against Mr. Stone.
I told you, nothing exciting, but 294, that was okay. No runs batted in. I refused to walk him. Absolutely refused, I tell you. But he was 5 for 17.
Single here, single there.
Yeah. So, okay.
Nothing special
okay
for Kansas City.
Nah.
2 out for Avila. Fouled away.
And rifled back in the seats. And hopefully everybody okay.
Unless Dwayne Kuiper happens to be a Nothing in 1 on Avila. Oh, and 2. It's a live arm on the mound.
Yeah, it's still able to get it up there at 95 miles an hour.
There is no limit to the eating ability of the kids in that family. Hot dog early, then cotton candy, now Dippin' Dots.
And long before you get a great love of the game, you have a wonderful love of the concession stand and sugar.
That's low, 1 and 2. We've both been there. I mean,
I'm still there.
you come to the game.
I love sugar. Yeah.
Come to the game for the helmet Sunday.
Well, that's a bit much. That would put you in a diabetic coma if you ate that all by yourself.
1 and 2. Base is clear. Hochevar to Avila. And he missed outside. 2 and 2.
Tried to hit the outside corner with the backdoor slider. Unfortunately missed away. Deeper you get in the game, the tougher it is to beat the Royals, as the Sox have found out the last few years. Has not been pleasant, the record against the Royals the last few.
Last 5 seasons, Royals have outdueled the Sox in the season series. Now 3 and 2 on Avila. Kansas City got 3 runs in the top of this inning. Orlando an RBI double, Kane an RBI double, Morales an RBI single. 3-2. Inside low, ball 4. 2 out, runner on for Jackson.
Sacrifice fly in the second inning. Plated the only Sox run, and with that first run off the bat of Austin Jackson, E-Click Lending has donated $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families. So a chance again for Austin to do some damage.
He singled last time. That was to center field with 2 out, nobody on. In a then standing 1-0 Sox lead. Hochevar greets him with a strike. Dylan G, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, a walk, 5 strikeouts, and Hochevar on here in the 6th. Strike 2. Rocky Top's own, the Tennessee Volunteer, Luke Hochevar, with a glance at Avila, and an 0-2. Fouled off.
Thought the second slider was good enough where he'd go back again. Austin able to foul it off. That pitch in the same spot. Very tough to stay alive on that one.
2 strikes. That's strike 3 on a fastball at 95. Hochevar strikes out 2, both looking to the 7th. 3-1 Royals. Stone along with you tonight. Thanks for joining us. The Royals have a comeback to their names so far, but the defense has been a spotlight tonight for the Sox.
The defense started out great. Tyler Saladino with a wonderful play at shortstop to start the ball game. Not only does he do that, but then the next inning, Jose Abreu starts a 3-6-3. That was awfully good. And then they top that out with a double play. Good rundown. No problems at all. It looked for a moment like Jose would get out of that inning with just 2 runs instead of 3, but the defense has been there. Now the offense has got to pick it up.
9 outs to deal with so far. Still left in regulation for the Sox tonight. And Quintana will face Gordon first here in the 7th. Saw Putnam loosening for the Sox earlier.
And he's still out there.
Yeah, it's a rainbow strike. 1-1 on Gordon, who's just 1 for his last 22. There is Zach Putnam, the Michigan man. In the air to right, hanging up, but not for long, as Eaton has to play it on a couple hops. Gordon a leadoff single.
There's another breaking ball, and it hasn't been good for Jose the last couple of innings. They're just rolling now, and Avila wanted that one low and away. That one just spun in the middle of the plate. Gordon, who has been struggling, as Jason told you, took advantage of a rolling curveball in the zone.
Well, a double plays in order with Cuthbert. Nicaraguan-born third baseman, and strike 1. And his first home run at Yankee Stadium. Grew up watching the Red Sox and Yankees. They're the only 2 teams that came through on Nicaraguan television, so you got to pick one. Through the left side. Singles to death for Kansas City now. 3 in a row in the hit column. Morales in the 6th, and the strikeout Perez, and back-to-back singles. Last 3 hits, all base hits.
That's 7 hits in 1+ innings, and we'll see what Robin has in mind as Infante comes up. Infante, a very good handler of the bat. He has but one sacrifice, as Robin looking over his lineup card, and everybody meeting in the middle of the infield.
So 2 on, nobody out. Infante. The Royals come in 20 and 20, 4.5 games back in the Central. Cleveland is leading right now against Boston 4-2 in the 9th. Bunt popped to first, and Abreu sweeps it up. Laurie covers. 1 down. Gordon to third. Cuthbert to second.
Wasn't the best bunt, but very effective. Infante popped it up, and nobody could get to it. So 1 hop, and then a good play by Abreu and Laurie, and here comes Robin.
1 out, second and third, and Robin Ventura waves to the bullpen, so that'll be all. A promising night for Quintana. Ends 6 1/3. He gives up 7 hits the last 2 innings, 8 total. Gets a nice round of applause, but trails as he departs. 3-1 Royals in the 7th. Chicago White Sox game receive a game card courtesy of Jewel Osco with a coupon for $10 off a purchase of $100 or more. Jewel Osco, your moment is our moment. Purchase tickets today by visiting WhiteSox.com or calling 866 Sox game, and a big moment to the pen, Steve.
Time now for our Midas Tire and Auto Service experts call to the pen, and it is Zach Putnam. He inherits a couple of men on, second and third, on for the 15th time. ERA 3.5, a 1-0 record, and the infield in at 04 positions. So Orlando, who got a big double last inning that started off the Kansas City scoring, and they have been pounding away ever since.
An outfielder who was White Sox property until August 9th, 2008. Orlando in an important spot in this game. Top 7, 1 out. Putnam has it hit to right field. Orlando's got another. Gordon's home. Cuthbert the stop sign at third. It's 4-1 Kansas City. Run charge to Quintana.
7th run batted in this year. That's a fastball down the middle. And Orlando, this time a base hit in the same spot into right center, putting runners at the corners for the leadoff man, Escobar,
who's 3 times now hit the ball towards Saladino at shortstop. Twice Tyler has gotten him, and once Saladino kept it on the infield but could not throw out Escobar. So the Royals, who are dead last in Major League Baseball in walks, have turned to the base hit tonight as Putnam misses high. Well, this has taken quite the turn in the last 2 innings. Quintana was cruising along, and the Royals, with all 4 runs since the 6th inning started.
Not a whole lot of margin for error in this one, as the offense once again doesn't do much, and now they got to deal with a very tough Kansas City pen. In the meantime, only 1 out here, and the Royals looking for more.
Tapped in front of the plate. Avila. Oh boy, Alex with an extra look to third and didn't uncork it to first.
Not a real good play by Alex there, because once you look to third and you freeze him, you go to first base. He was close enough to home plate to be able to get back. And knowing Cuthbert is not a burner, goes as an infield hit.
Well, you know what? He never looked at third in the first place, so he didn't know. Although he might have been able to see it out of the corner of his eye.
It's one of those plays. That one did not work very well, and now you got him loaded.
For Kane, who doubled in a run last time. That one goes in the bin. Marked A for Altuve previously in the homestand. Somebody knowing the type of play he wants to make and not making it. Altuve covering first on a bunt from Sanchez a couple of nights ago, was way behind the bag when the throw came, as the Royals have loaded the bases with a strike on Kane and 1 out.
Nice stop by Alex that time, as that wound up well in front of home plate on the splitter. Kane has grounded into 5 double plays this year, surprising for a man with his speed, but he's second on the ball club behind Kendrys Morales. He's grounded into 7 of them.
Ball and a strike. To first, Abreu picks it and says, "Stop right there, Mr. Escobar." 4-1 stretch time. WhiteSox.com Blacklist for exclusive club content all year long, including ticket offers, breaking news, special event invites, and more. Visit WhiteSox.com/blacklist to register today.
Hochevar departs, and Joakim Soria comes on. ZRA .419, 20 hits and 19 in the third. He has allowed a couple of home runs.
He's got strike one on Saladino.
Cuthbert in close in case Saladino decides to bunt.
One and one for Saladino, who's now got a hit in 6 straight starts with a single to right in his last at bat.
Soria, a longtime closer who now works late, but not in a closing role in Kansas City.
Ninth major league season for Soria. Third all-time in Royals saves with 161 of them. Strike three. Saladino is the 8th punch out tonight for the Sox.
With the bases loaded, the ball is hit awfully hard. And there's nothing you can do. If you're the base runner here, that ball is hit behind you. Escobar has no chance whatsoever. Jose just runs him down, puts a tag on. Lorenzo Cain not happy. He was thinking about a base hit and 2 driven in. And Escobar doubled off. But from a base running standpoint, when that ball is hit and it's behind you, there's nothing you can do. You're getting not only the secondary lead, but you're off with the crack of the bat. So you're just hung out to dry.
Strike one for Eaton. You saw the resignation on the face of Escobar there as Abreu slammed on the brakes to tag him. Eaton, Abreu, and Frazier coming up. Ground ball to short, knocked down but not kept by Escobar.
Got to go as a base hit. That would have been a very tough play. And so Adam with his first hit of the night. Escobar shading up the middle, but the ball drops out of the glove.
Well, this is why Robin Ventura stacked the lineup as he did. The hope is that Eaton will get on, Abreu can drive him in, or Eaton will get on, Abreu can move him over to third, and then Frazier can knock him in.
If the team isn't producing as many runs as you would like, you've got to do something with that batting order, and Robin did it tonight, hoping that this would unlock the secret to a lot of guys who can hit the baseball but just haven't been hitting it as well as they would like.
Todd Steverson, the hitting coach, side by side with Robin. Sox trying to mount a rally here in the 7th. Soria to Abreu, 1 on, 1 out. That's a ball low, 2-0.
Lorenzo Cain is very deep in center field. That's from a guy who doesn't play a deep center. But they want to try to cut off a double. Even in a 3-run game, Ned Yost thinking a run at a time.
That's inside, 3-0 on Abreu. You've said it many times, Abreu as a run producer wants to hit the ball and hit it hard, but in this situation you're happy to take a walk, right?
And because you know if you can get on, the tying run comes to bat and he's going to get on. So good patience, a good eye. And Jose, who doesn't walk often, walks that time. That's only the 15th time he's walked. And now a couple of men on, and Todd Frazier a long ball away from tying this game.
career against Soria, Frazier is 3 out of 4 with a home run.
Well, Soria's been a good pitcher for a long time, and you mentioned his closing numbers, and they were very good. But when you take a look at some of the arms coming out of that bullpen, you want to try to get to Soria, because the next two are not appealing.
Herrera and Davis looming as Frazier takes a strike, planted just at the edge of the zone.
Well, Robin at the top step of the dugout, he doesn't want Todd Frazier to say one more thing, as that ball was bowled back into the zone. You see what Perez did. He did it very well. He brought it back up, making it look probably better than it looked. Although Toyota Pitch Track said it had a part of the lower part of the zone.
Frazier lines it. Oh, Escobar! He had 2 taken away, and his glove steals the 7th.
Checking an official White Sox MasterCard debit card, only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
This could be a much different game if not for Escobar at short for Kansas City.
Makes a fine play here and then doubles up Eaton at second. Took one step too many, and the Kansas City defense, which is #1 in the American League, gets Soria out of the inning. Todd Frazier most unhappy, as you would expect. Now it's up to Zach Putnam to keep it right there to 3-run deficit.
Back to the drawing board when the offense sees the bats. Hosmer takes a ball high. You know, we told you keeping Hosmer out of the hit column is quite the feat this season. He is 0 for so far, and now 2-0 in a good spot. Hosmer is against Putnam. He braces to take a strike. Sox had the lead 1-0, but the Royals picked up 3 in the 6th and 1 more in the 7th. 4-1 top 8 in the series opener. Nice changeup. Is that a splitter?
Looked like a splitter. And very effective. It was down, and Hosmer swung over the top. Two
2-2. Morales, then Perez here in the 8th. Down 3-2. Day baseball next 2 days here at U.S. Cellular Field as Matt Perk awaits his Major League debut.
He's been loosening up quite a few games without getting in.
Three-two. Hosmer in the air left side. Melky Cabrera has room short of the warning track for out number 1. White Sox fans, don't let aches and pains keep you from doing the things you love to do. Schedule an appointment at any of our 340 facilities by visiting Athletico.com/appointments. Athletico, the official physical therapy provider of the Chicago White Sox. Athletico, better for everybody. Or everybody. Or both.
It's better for everybody.
Hello again.
There you go. Take a look at a couple of friends with vastly different rooting interests.
That's harmony right there. That's sports fandom in the most positive sense.
Sports fandom in the Midwest. You see many Yankees Red Sox fans hanging out together.
So, are you saying then that Cubs and Sox fans are more amiable to one another than Yankees Mets fans? Or Yankees Red Sox fans?
They are not.
Yeah?
No.
It's the same type of loathing.
They share a city. Different things.
Share might not be the best word. Oh boy. Interlopers.
We'll take all the lopers we can get at the old ball yard. Thank you.
Inter, Canta.
Yes.
2-2.
Lowry is way back in right field, knowing that Morales can't run very well, but does hit the ball awfully hard.
Two and two. Base is empty, 1 out. And he swings and misses for strike 3. 2 away for Putnam.
Morales, who came in hitting just 143 left-handed, shows you why. As he expands that zone, nice stop by Alex Avila. And here comes Robin.
Big day for Matt Perk.
Yeah, Matt Perk comes in the ball game, and as he strolls in, we'll walk out, and we'll be back after these messages.
For exclusive ticket offers and seating locations all season long, game day opportunities, club auctions, ballpark tours, membership gifts, and more. Visit SoxPrideClub.com to join today.
Time now for the Midas Tire and Auto Service experts call to the pen, and it is Matt Burke, who was originally drafted by the Nationals in the 3rd round of 2011. Those are the numbers at Charlotte. He was in 10 games. He started 1, fine ERA of 2.30. This will be a moment that he will always remember. And so he wants to finish the at-bat with a flourish, retire Perez out of the inning, and turn it over to the offense.
That would start with Melky Cabrera in the home 8th. Long road for Perk to get to this spot as Perez swings and misses. Perk with shoulder issues after being drafted, then had Tommy John surgery in 2014, then pulled off the 40-man roster, then a minor league deal for the Nationals. Never made it up with Washington. Now here with the Sox. His first major league game. And Perez with a single.
Give you an idea of the plate coverage of Salvador Perez. That ball was a good 6 inches off the outside corner. We'll take a look at Toyota pitch tracks. It's up and away. The difference being that that ball is up in the eyes of Perez. And because he's got a nose-to-toe strike zone, no pitch looks bad enough for him to actually take it. And he drove that one into right field. He does, however, have 7 walks this year and 138 at-bats.
And your feeling on that, is that number is high or low for Sal Perez?
For him, he's of the swinging Perez's. So all things being equal, if the ball stays in the park, he's going to have a hack at it.
You heard about their family reunions?
They're terrific.
Yeah.
Yes, nobody walks anywhere.
You'll go batty. Strike on Gordon. 2 out. Perez at first. With strike 2. You remember your debut, right?
I do. I remember a base hit to Dave Campbell on a 3-2 slider, and then a 2-run homer, and an infinite ERA after 2 hitters. I knew it could only get better after that. So I will always remember that 3-2 slider to Dave Campbell. I only held it against him the rest of his life.
No grudges.
No.
0-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. Perk with his first career strikeout. 4-1, bottom 8 next. You and Bill are going to reenact the A.J. Pierzynski-Michael Barrett deal in the postgame as well. That'll be fun.
And hopefully, and optimistically, Chuck, we can talk about a big comeback, and it's going to have to start against a guy that throws in triple digits on occasion. Kelvin Herrera, .89 ERA, 0-1 record, 10 holds, which is good, on for the 22nd time. This is an awfully difficult back end of the bullpen. And Soria battled his way out without giving up any runs. The ball was hit awfully hard, and that was the man you would love to have gotten to, but didn't.
Had a chance, 2 on 1 out, but the line out double play, as you said. And now Herrera facing Cabrera. In the air, left center field. Gordon. Herrera had only retired 14 of the 21 first batters he'd faced. He gets Cabrera, and now Laurie, who, when these guys saw each other last April, Herrera threw a pitch behind Laurie. 8th inning of a game on a Sunday. Herrera ended up getting suspended for 5 games for that.
Well, you can understand how frightening that must be and how helpless a hitter feels when the ball is behind him. It's one thing to throw one up under his chin or at his chest, but when you throw the ball behind the hitter, that is intention, and that's one of the reasons why he was suspended.
A little bit out of the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, earlier in that game, Scott Kazmir had hit Lorenzo Cain in the leg. There's a slide that the Royals didn't like from Laurie earlier in the series, and it all built to that pitch behind Laurie, but everything stays out of the untoward category in the first 3 pitches here. 1 and 2. Check swing, and he did not go. 2 and 2. Two. Punch foul.
Well, staying alive on 99 on the outside corner is a good trick, and Brett was able to do it because that was in a perfect spot, but you couldn't get it by him.
Up the ladder again and fouled back. Kansas City has a bullpen that's allowed just a .234 opposing average this year. 6 and 2 out of the pen. The starters have been the issue. Dayton Moore said that just the other day at the end of that Red Sox series, that if there was any help that the Royals needed, it might be there. As Laurie takes strike 3. Boy, he seems to have an inordinate amount of borderline pitches called on him for strike 3. Not suggesting anything from the umpires. That's just the way his season has gone.
No, that actually was a good one. And when a guy can throw 100, you're not expecting the hook. Not in that situation. And when you get it, you just have to hope that it's outside.
2 out, bases clear for Garcia. 10-game homestand for the Sox. 3 with Kansas City, 4 with Cleveland to finish before a long road trip. These very Royals are on the list for the Sox upcoming road trip.
Yeah, 4 in Kansas City, and that's never a pleasure. They're tough anywhere the Sox have played them, but especially tough in Kansas City. And then it's the New York Mets, who have a whale of a pitching staff. An off day, and then it's Detroit to finish it up.
What do you make of Matt Harvey's difficulties? He doesn't seem to have it right now.
A big drop in velocity. One of the biggest in the major leagues, and it could have something to do with maybe coming back a little sooner, maybe throwing too many innings last year, too many pitches. Whatever the case, he doesn't have the fastball he had.
Rolled to third. Cuthbert by a long step. 1-2-3 inning for Herrera. 4-1 Royals to the ninth.
Earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite, and there's some wonderful times in this game, and this is one of them. First strikeout in his career to the second hitter he faces, and Matt Pert will go off. Don Cooper congratulating him. Now he certainly wants the baseball, and Herm Schneider gets it, and he tells the bat boy, take it over to the authenticator, who will put a little stamp on it, saying that that is indeed the real baseball, the one that he recorded his first major league out and strikeout. So a nice moment. In fact, nice enough to be our Miller moment.
Yes. A very important job as well, but a very boring comic book character, the authenticator. Not much of a superhero.
That is a tough job, and the educational process and tests that go into it, you would be surprised how difficult they are.
How difficult are they?
Well, first of all, you have to know how to take those little stamps off any type of barrier they have behind them. That's not the easiest. That's not as easy as you would think. Yes. Yeah. And you have to have supreme concentration. I mean, you can see it in his eyes.
2-1 on Cuthbert, who is 1 for 3.
The reason being, if he ever looks away for even an instant, he can't, in good conscience, authenticate.
But here's the thing, he just did.
Yes, but nothing is happening.
So you've got to time your look away.
Absolutely.
Is the key.
Yes.
To being the authenticator.
Or it wouldn't be authentic.
Oh, off the glove of Abreu, and the recovery not in time.
Just about the time you start taking something for granted, it takes one of those bad hops, and you get charged with E3. So Cuthbert aboard. Jose with his third error of the year in 42 games. It's not all that bad.
Well, now, yeah, that's the authentic texter.
Yes, he's just finding out that we are talking about him, and you know what? He doesn't get a lot of pub. So I would say he's got to be one happy authenticator.
Is that the happiest authenticator you've ever seen?
Well, first of all, it's going to create a cottage industry with authenticating school.
You think we're going to have prima donna authenticators now, playing for the camera instead of for the stamp? Right field, Adam Eaton.
Hey, Sox fans, if you love sports trivia, don't miss another exciting episode of Beer Money, Sunday night on CSN. Watch fans test their knowledge and try to win big. Beer Money, presented by Coors Light, Sunday at 7 p.m. on CSN Chicago.
When you guys were in a rain delay in Texas, there was an episode of Beer Money on, and I was rapt at attention watching Beer Money.
Well, it's fun.
It is.
I mean, you do test your sports knowledge.
Well, there's a spelling test, and one of the names they had the guy spell, and he was a couple pops deep, was Scott Schoenweiss. Well, that's not easy.
No, it's not easy if you haven't had any adult beverages.
One strike on Orlando, who has been a big culprit tonight with 2 RBI hits, one in the 6th and one in the 7th. Outside, 1-1. 1:10 tomorrow, first pitch from here at U.S. Cellular Field, and 1:10 on Sunday as the series continues. Danny Duffy, Miguel Gonzalez, the pitching matchup tomorrow. Yordano Ventura, Carlos Rodon on Sunday. You know, today's a big day in American history, Steve Stone.
And why would that be?
1993, there was a last episode of television that aired today. Long-running series, 1993.
Blackjack McDowell and the Cy Young Award.
That was not a sitcom.
Oh, but he did win it in 93.
He did, yeah.
That's the only thing I can remember.
That was a long-running show for a lot of teams that year. It was Cheers, the Cheers finale, 1993. 93 million people watched, which is just a sliver of our viewership.
That was a good run for Cheers.
93 million. And you know, one of the writers for Cheers used to be a baseball announcer in the American League. Ken Levine was with the Mariners, among others.
I run into him quite a bit.
How does he like that?
Not great. He's not that happy about it.
Fouled away, 3-2 on Orlando.
Did you like the Shelley Long cheers or the Kirstie Alley cheers?
Kirstie Alley cheers was less awkward, don't you think? Because Shelley Long and Sam were on again, off again, on again, off again. Diane, right? Diane and Sam?
Yeah, I don't know. I never watched.
What? 3-2 on Orlando. Cuthbert at first. And one down here in the ninth. So you wouldn't know then that Sam Malone, the main character, was
a pitcher.
Fictionally. You're jumping in the middle of my sentence about a show that you've not seen?
True, but my parents told me it was great.
Oh, they watched a lot of Cheers and a lot of Murder, She Wrote, we found out during this homestand. 3-2 for Orlando. It was 9 for his last 17.
Had a good night tonight. Had a couple of base hits, a ringing double into the gap in right center, driving in a run in the 6th, and a single in the same spot that Eaton was able to cut off, driving in a run in the 7th.
Line drive left field and a base hit for Orlando. His favorite place, first base. 2 on, 1 out, and Escobar, the batter.
Alex out to the mound. A word for Matt Perk. Escobar had one of the most unusual hits in the 7th inning, a little dribble in front of home plate. And Alex Avila had it, but in looking at third to freeze, Cuthbert never made the throw to first.
Two on, 1 out. Escobar been on twice. In the dirt. last 2 seasons with Escobar, before this year, with Escobar in the leadoff spot, the Royals were 103 up and 59 down. That's .636 baseball with that guy batting first.
He's also not a guy that likes to walk very much, and yet always hitting in the 260s, 270s. Had 1 down year.
Pert skies for it. 2 down.
Remember 1 year, a few years back, when Escobar hit in the 230s, which was really unusual for him, and then he came back to his normal self, which is, as we said, 270s, sometimes in the 290s. So he's been a pretty good one.
By the way, join us after our game. I'm told that after Chuck and Bill are done, we have reruns of Blackjack of the Cy Young.
It's a good show.
Little known.
Excellent show
from back in the early 90s. Programming note. Down low. 1 ball to Kane.
Got to be careful here. You do have Hosmer in the on-deck circle. Matt Pert this year has been awfully tough on the left-handers. And Kane with an RBI double in the 6th. And then a line drive rocket turned into a double play to end the 7th.
Checked his swing, and he did go. 1-1. What we do know is the Sox are going to need some runs in the bottom of the 9th. The question is how many. And it'll be Avila, Jackson, and Saladino scheduled for the Sox.
Well, they got 2 guys warming up in the bullpen. One undoubtedly is Wade Davis, and he will come in a 3-run situation. And in a 4 or more situation, he won't. So there's the pen. Davis and Moylan. It will be Moylan, who's a side wheeler if they take it out of a save situation.
Well, he is Australian, so he would like to.
That throw from down under?
Yeah. Batteries are dying in the pun machine. It's a late night at the ball yard.
Now look, puns are like children.
How so, Steve?
Always love your own and hate everybody else's.
So that's how you feel about my jokes?
No, your jokes are terrific. The puns,
2-2 for Kane. 2 on, 2 out. Yeah, that one gets away. 3-2.
Alex has had a very busy night behind the plate. Quintana, a rare night where he just didn't have a whole lot, and yet without a whole lot, he hit him through 5. And things got a little bad for him in the 6th as he rolled some breaking balls, lasted 6 in the 3rd. 4 runs on 8 hits tonight.
3-2, bounce foul of 3rd, and over the head of Cuthbert, who has the awareness of an authenticator while he's on the base path.
We will have made that authenticator buku bucks. I don't know how quite yet, but we will.
3-2 on Kane. Grounded foul.
It's always been rather hard to figure out why one team seems to have your number, as Kansas City has with Quintana. Because you don't always face the same group of hitters. I mean, they come and they go, and it just seems sometimes one team, for whatever reason, has a core of guys that hit you very well, and everybody fills in around them, and you just don't beat them very often.
Left field, Melky Cabrera roving over for out number 3. So an error, a hit, and nothing across. Bottom 9, 4-1 Kansas City in Matt Pert's debut.
to you by Travel Wisconsin. Plan your fun today at travelwisconsin.com. And Royals here for a couple more, both day games, and then the Indians come to town for that doubleheader on Monday. We'll play straight through from 4:10 on. Then after a Tuesday and Wednesday game, it's on the road to KC, our upcoming schedule. And take a look at Wisconsin. It is a beautiful place. We got a new pitcher coming in the game, and it is the hard-throwing, very effective Wade Davis. On for the 15th time. 9 for 10 in save situations, and ZRA a very, very fine 132. Of course, right-handers still looking for their first hit against the tall right-hander who made the conversion from starting rotation to a setup man and then seamlessly to a closer.
Sent over here in that trade that involved Will Myers, Jake Odorizzi, among others, James Shields as well. Ground ball to first. Hosmer now number 1.
Turned out to be a great trade for Kansas City because at the time Will Myers was one of the top prospects in all of baseball, and Tampa Bay felt that they could use him in the outfield and he would be a star along with Longoria. Well, they had a guy that was a decent starter, and that was Wade Davis. And they had a guy who was a good pitcher but was on the verge of making a whole lot of money, and that was James Shields. So they traded a whole lot of today for a part of tomorrow, and the today turned out much better for Kansas City than the tomorrow did for Tampa Bay.
Today involves a World Series championship. Carlos Sanchez pinch hitting for Austin Jackson, who finishes 1 for 2 with a sacrifice fly and a strikeout. Sanchez, center field, 1 on, 1 out. Tying run on deck as Saladino comes up.
That's a fastball that was on the inside portion, and he's able to get the head out and take it right back up the middle. So a chance. Tyler Saladino wanting to emulate Sanchez, get on board, turn it over to Adam Eaton and Jose Abreu, who's in the 2 spot tonight.
And right now would be up after Eaton. He would be Abreu, at least as it stands right now, the winning run. The ball low to Saladino. That is putting the cart well before the horse, but if Saladino and Eaton were to reach, Abreu would be the winning run. Slap to short. Escobar's there again.
With a couple of well-hit balls, and unfortunately, Alcides Escobar was just tall enough to make the play and positioned well enough twice. So first it was Frazier. Escobar turned it into a double play that ended the 7th, and now Saladino leaving 1 out in the bag.
Eaton is 1 for 4. He singled in the 7th. Strike 1.
Indifference as Carlos Sanchez moves into second base.
Oh, 2. Kansas City a strike away from winning the series opener. Royals got 3 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th. Off the plate outside. Ball and 2 strikes. 2 out, bottom 9. Abreu waiting. Davis Kicks away. Sanchez easily to third. That's a wild pitch.
Breaking ball, trying to wipe him out, and one of the few times Perez can't corral it.
You almost wish you'd swung at that if you're Adam Eaton. You end up maybe at second. Yeah. 2-2. Got him, strike three. 4-1 the final, Kansas City in comeback fashion tonight in game one of the series.
Unfortunately, a couple of opportunities for the Sox, not that money in the offense. Still has to tune it up. The back end of the bullpen, very tough for Kansas City, and we'll be back at him with a day game tomorrow, so sleep fast.
1:10 first pitch. Join us for that. For director Jim Angio, producer Mike Leary, our associate producer Dave Ross, tech manager Mark Harper, and the executive producer Jim Corno Jr. I'm Jason Benetti saying so long from U.S. Cellular Field. He's Steve. I'm Jason. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live with Chuck and Bill. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Talk to you tomorrow.